All right, let's talk some more politics now and on the national front. You got 132 days until we're going to decide the next president here. And if you look at the poll averages, and what Andrew does basically, he mashes them all up here. This is the real clear average. It's got the president up by about 3 points with a 40-point lead when it comes to the Electoral College average. Now, those numbers changed a little overnight after two big polls came out that have helped put the presidential race in a little bit more clearer perspective, at least where we stand right now. Andrew, break these numbers down, because there's a couple of them that I thought were real interesting.
Right. Well, the big poll today is from NBC News and the Wall Street Journal, and it echoes the poll average that Rich just showed you. It gives the president a 3-point lead on Mitt Romney. Why is Obama leading? Well, the poll notes the issues where both Mr. Obama and Mr. Romney do well, but the real answer may be just in plain old favorability. Voters seem to like the president, and they don't like Governor Romney as much. Both men have similar unfavorable numbers on the right-hand side of your screen, but look at the numbers in red on the left. Obama's positive numbers outpace Romney's by 15 points. And then there are the categories that should be areas of strength for each nominee, but just aren't. For Romney, it's his business experience, one of the most often cited characteristics that voters give when describing Romney, but it's a net negative in this poll. 28% of voters call it a negative, and that number balloons to 1/3 of voters in swing states when you ask them. Similar story, though, for the president when it comes to his own approval as president. His job performance should be a strength. He's been president 3.5 years longer than Mitt Romney has, but people say they disapprove of the president's performance by 1 point. We'll call that an underwater number, Rich.
All right, let's start with the business number. And for me, Ed, I can't make sense out of this. Historically, you look at business experience, it's always a positive, sometimes 2 to 3 to 1 over the negatives. But for all the heat that Obama took, even from Democrats, Don, saying, you know, from Deval Patrick, from Cory Booker, from Ed Rendell, saying back off of basically the Bain cracks here and more, you know, on that front, it seems to be working. Because people are saying outsourcer in chief or whatever, it seems to fit on a bumper sticker. Are you surprised that the business background in a tough economy here is actually right now polling negatively for Romney?
Maybe not as surprising, because what got us into the ditch was the business community. So every time Obama talks about inheriting something from George Bush, and I love how the word inherit is used when you beg for the job and beg for the job and beg for the job, and then, ooh, Santa Claus brought me the wrong toy. Well, you knew what you were asking for. So the fact that business was the genesis of this, and Obama seems to have overreached. Inside the campaign room, somebody said, let's really go nail him, and forgot that the Cory Bookers of America, the governors, the mayors, depend on business health for tax revenues and the vitality and attractiveness of their city. So I think these two are conflicting.
This is the impact of Occupy Wall Street. This is the 99 versus the 1%. Business, and when you talk about business leaders,
you really think so? Don't you think it's more? Don't you think it's more?
They're irrelevant.
What if when you say the word Bain to the average person and follows, so they'll say, "Oh, fired a lot of folks here," or he shipped the job somewhere else, or they might know that he's built a car elevator in his California house. Isn't that more the stuff?
They know he's big business, and it's not directly Occupy, but it's the whole conversation about 99 versus 1. And if you took a poll on what people's thoughts are on corporate CEOs right now, you would probably get a big underwater number.
Tom, for me, I'm surprised Obama's numbers aren't even worse. He's had a horrible month. And frankly, his handlers have been doing, from my estimation at least, a real crummy job. So with a bad month, why isn't he doing worse?
Well, let me just go back to the last point. The reason why Romney's business experience is not showing up, or showing up rather as a negative, if you will, is the impact of negative campaigning. I mean, we're forgetting that Obama has already been going after Romney, making Bain an issue. So we'll see what happens when Romney starts going after Obama. His numbers might even get even worse. But your original question was, why isn't Obama?
Why isn't he not doing worse? He's had a real crummy June. And I figured the trending would even be worse.
Well, because he's doing what he does best right now, and that is rallying against Congress with the 13% approval rating, yep, and chief campaigner in chief out there rallying the troops.
I got one thing though. If I'm Romney, and as much as we get frustrated with these two guys, they don't really say anything, okay? And they, you know, if they're going to raise $1 billion apiece here, and we still haven't heard the big idea for the next 4 years. Romney hasn't answered the question about Arizona still. He's going to be asked this all week long. And on Sunday, it's going to still be, maybe they'll forget about it with healthcare, but they're going to still be asking the question. Does he have to say, all right, You got these core constituents for Obama. They're not going to vote for me. I got my base here. But I still got to tell people what I'm going to do, really do. Well, how would you counsel him to change at least the narrative that it's about what he'll do, not just why he's not Obama?
I think this election is a referendum on the president's leadership, whether it's Obamacare or the economy.
But don't people want
he
answers?
has not
But don't
shown.
they want to know what the alternative's going to be?
Of course they
rule.
do, but you
Rock
have an
stars
incumbent president that people do like personally, but your job approval rate is a net negative as an
Gotta give
sitting
them an alternative,
incumbent.
Jessica. You
No,
gotta
you
give
don't.
them-
I
you gotta
don't
give
think
them an
it's-
alternative.
She's
don't
right
know.
on this. She's a
As an
1,000%
incumbent,
correct.
it's a
Right.
referendum on your
1,000% correct.
leadership.
If I'm Romney, I'm hiding. I don't have to
Anybody
answer
does.
anything. Let the chief president
You're
answer
leaving out
all the
one thing, though.
questions.
He was Mr. Flip-Flop throughout the whole primary process.
And
the
that's
Republican
another reason
Senate.
why you hide.
Well,
that's another reason
people
why
are
you
going
hide.
to be buying.
And
But
doesn't
why?
charisma always trump? When has
No,
charisma
not when people
trumped?
are
Charisma helps.
fearful about the future.
trumps.
Absolutely,
But
it
look at
does
the
not.
last one
No, it
term
doesn't.
presidents who lost re-election. Look at George H.W. Bush. Look at Jimmy Carter. Yeah, they had bad presidencies, but they also had alternatives available to voters. There was Ronald Reagan and there was Bill Clinton. People
And
like
over
those guys.
40% of Americans in polls are showing that they like Romney as an alternative.
Why do
so
you think
you
the race
can't
is so
say
tight?
that he's
Why
not.
is the race so tight?
Exactly.
I have a feeling we won't agree on this.